The night Eli Moreno vanished, the city didn't notice at first. Eli was a big-town journalist, byline regular at the Harbor Ledger, face occasionally on late-night panels, voice calm and precise when he dissected corruption or policy. He covered the city like a cartographer mapping fault lines. City Hall, the docks, the hospital network. But he lived in Belhaven, a tight-knit pocket of old brick homes and shared fences on the city's north edge, where people borrowed sugar without knocking and arguments never lasted longer than a day. When Eli didn't show up for Sunday morning coffee at Rosa's Cafe, Mrs. Calderon texted him a joke about journalists sleeping in. When his inbox stayed silent through noon, his editor assumed a hangover. By evening, when his phone went straight to voicemail and his car sat untouched along Juniper Street, Belhaven felt the absence like a power outage. The police filed it as a missing persons case. By Tuesday, they upgraded it to a probable homicide. Eli's apartment showed signs of violence. Overturned chair, a cracked lamp, a smear of blood on the doorframe, but no body. Detectives called it likely random, a break-in gone wrong, maybe tied to his reporting. The city knew that story well. A journalist asked the wrong question. Someone answers with fists. Belhaven rejected that explanation instinctively. Random things didn't happen there. Not like this. Detective Mara Klein didn't reject it, but she didn't accept it either. She walked Belhaven's narrow sidewalks, noticing details others miss. The way neighbors spoke in half-sentences, the way grief made them careful with words. She spoke to Rosa, to Mrs. Calderon, to Eli's upstairs neighbor, Samir, who said he'd heard raised voices the night Eli disappeared, angry but intimate. Like a couple? Klein asked. Samir hesitated. Like people who know each other too well. The investigation followed the obvious trail first. Eli's last articles had rattled powerful people. He'd been digging into a real estate shell company with city council ties. There were threats in his email, anonymous, ugly, predictable. One developer's alibi collapsed under scrutiny. Another had motive and money. The city watched, tense, as names circulated. Then Klein found the second phone. It was tucked into a shoebox beneath Eli's bed, wrapped in a scarf. It held no work contacts, no editors, no sources. Only first names, short messages, plans for late walks, apologies that read like confessions. One thread stood out, ending the night Eli vanished. "We can't keep pretending. Come over. We'll talk." The contact was saved as L. Belhaven shifted when the news leaked. Eli Moreno, the principal journalist, had a secret life. It wasn't scandalous in the tabloid sense. No crimes, no public figures. But it was hidden carefully. The community's grief complicated into something messier. Confusion, betrayal, protectiveness. Detectives tracked L. to Lena Whitaker, the city archivist. She lived 6 blocks away. She had no criminal record, no history of violence. She did, however, have a history with Eli, one that predated his rise at the Ledger. They'd grown up together in Belhaven, dated briefly in college, broken up cleanly, or so everyone thought. Lena never left the neighborhood. Eli did, then came back successful, admired, untouchable. When Klein interviewed her, Lena didn't deny the relationship. She didn't cry either. "We reconnected last year," Lena said. Quietly. He wanted to keep it separate from his work, from his image. "Why?" Klein asked. Lena smiled without humor. "You'd have to ask him." Pressure mounted. The city wanted a villain. Eli's editor gave interviews, insisting on a professional hit. Belhaven whispered that Lena had always been intense, that she'd never forgiven Eli for leaving. Then divers found Eli's body in the river, weighted down with gym plates. Cause of death: blunt force trauma to the head. Random violence seemed less plausible now. So did a professional hit. This was messy, personal. Forensics found fibers in Eli's apartment. Wool from a coat, rare, hand-woven. Klein remembered the scarf around the second phone. She sent it to the lab. It matched. Lena was arrested on a gray Thursday morning. Belhaven watched from porches and windows as she was led away, her face pale but composed. Some felt relief. Others felt something close to shame. The trial moved fast. The prosecution painted a picture of obsession, a woman rekindling an old flame, discovering she was a secret, snapping when Eli tried to end it. They showed text out of context. They emphasized the scarf, the phone, the argument overheard by Samir. Lena's defense was quiet, almost understated. They didn't deny the argument. They reframed it. Eli hadn't wanted to end the relationship, they said. He wanted to expose it. In the weeks before his death, Eli had been working on something off the books, not corruption, not policy, himself. He'd grown tired of compartmentalizing, of being the careful observer. He'd planned to write a first-person piece about public lives and private truths, about the cost of secrecy. Lena hadn't been a secret affair. She'd been a protected one. The night he disappeared, Eli had told Lena he was going to publish. He'd asked her to go public with him. She said no, Klein testified. And then the defense said someone else arrived. Samir took the stand again. This time, Klein asked different questions. You heard Ray's voices, she said. How many? Samir swallowed. 3. The unexpected suspect emerged slowly, painfully. Daniel Rios, Eli's editor and closest friend. Daniel had known about the second phone, about the article, about Lena. He'd also known that the piece would implicate him, not criminally, but ethically. Daniel had shaped Eli's career, curated his image, steered him away from stories that hit too close to home. He believed in protecting the narrative, the institution. On the stand, Daniel unraveled. He admitted going to Eli's apartment that night to talk him out of publishing. He admitted the argument escalated. I pushed him, Daniel said, voice breaking. I didn't mean he fell. Hit his head. Panic followed. A terrible, irreversible series of choices. The river. The weights. Lena was acquitted. Daniel was convicted of manslaughter and obstruction. Belhaven didn't celebrate. It mourned again, differently this time. The loss of Eli, yes, but also the loss of certainty. The realization that the danger hadn't come from outside, from shadowy enemies or random violence. It had come from love, control, fear, things that lived close to home. Rosa put Eli's photo back on the cafe wall, next to Lena's favorite table. Mrs. Calderon stopped telling jokes about journalists sleeping in. Samir moved out. Months later, the Harbor Ledger published Eli's unfinished essay, pieced together from drafts. It wasn't a confession or an expose. It was quieter than that. We think we know people by what they show us. It read, but the truest stories are the ones we're afraid to tell, especially about ourselves. Belhaven read it together, in kitchens and on stoops, and felt the weight of it settle, not as closure, but as a warning.